Ending a war is rarely straightforward. Even the prospect of a ceasefire, let alone agreeing to one, comes with complications. And this is the very position that Ukraine finds itself in. It agreed to a 30-day frontline-wide ceasefire without conditions. It seems to have memorized and repeated the words, just and lasting peace. But what did it get instead? A theatrical week-long wait, then a limited ceasefire, and a Kremlin readout which says prisoner swaps, hockey matches, more talks, and a month-long mutual pause on energy infrastructure attacks. That's the gist of it. Like we said, it is complicated. Take the last bit, for instance. Moscow says it won't attack Ukraine's energy infrastructure if Kiev agrees to do the same. But we told you what happened last night. Both sides launched air attacks on each other. Russia accuses Ukraine of hitting an oil depot. So much for a mutual pause on energy infrastructure attacks. While Ukraine says Russia targeted civilian infrastructure overnight, including hospitals. Basically, there is a glimmer of hope with this limited ceasefire, but the situation in general remains bleak. So what does this mean for Ukraine? For starters, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky felt left out, at least yesterday. Yesterday's call was another sign of Ukraine's weak position. The country is at war. Its future is being decided, and let alone getting a seat at the table, Zelensky had little knowledge what was discussed.
We
support all steps aimed at the end of the war. We will support them. But in order to support them, we need to understand what exactly we support. When President Trump has time, he is a busy man. When he has time, he can call me anytime. He has my phone number. We are ready to talk through further steps with pleasure.
Zelensky's frustration must have been apparent because Trump has dialed him tonight to discuss the details of yesterday's call. But this is the hard truth. Hours after the call with Russia, Ukraine did not know what it was getting into. And to everyone but Zelensky, this is not surprising. In recent days, Moscow has ramped up attacks. It has pushed to drive out Ukrainian troops from the Kursk region, which could have been an important bargaining chip for Kiev in potential negotiations. Now Ukraine is clearly deprived of it. And this gives Russia momentum on the battlefield and a stronger hand at the negotiation table. With Trump, of course. Last month, Trump's rhetoric may have been harsh, but he gave Zelensky the gist of the matter. He said, you don't have the cards right now. And we saw this play out last night as well. Russian President Vladimir Putin reiterated his demands. He wants an end to foreign military and intelligence assistance to Ukraine. He wants Kiev to stop bolstering its military. And by the looks of it, Putin is not budging, which undermines Kiev's demands. It wants the ability to defend itself, and it wants this ability to remain unrestricted.
It is not type of the game where Putin is the only one to impose his rules. I think military aid will continue. We have aid from both the United States and our European colleagues. I am certain there will be no betrayal from the partner's side and that the flow of military aid will continue.
Well, he is right. This is not a game. This is a conflict. And no matter how entertaining the theatrics, no matter how many narratives politicians spin, outcomes of conflicts are determined on the battlefield, where Kiev remains weak. And yesterday's phone call proves this. It underscores how Ukraine's alternative to a war in its fourth year cannot be the utopia of the just and lasting peace that it wants. Peace in Ukraine will come at a price, and maybe Zelensky should make peace with that.
Do you think that Ukraine is at its weakest position?
This war is not about Ukraine.
Do you believe that your president was insulted? Yes or no question. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Diplomacy will work?
Yes.
Do you think Russia will give up the territory if there is no ceasefire? Do you propose to keep fighting?
We are ready to resist.
Do you think there will be peace?
Many countries gave us 3 days.
President Trump said you don't have any cards.
We do not have another choice.
How do you keep fighting?
You ask me once again the same question.
Because you've not answered my question.
We have enough capacities to keep fighting.